I'm gonna haunt you forever. I promise.
You probably will.
I'm gonna be like, Howard the Duck was the best movie.
That is a nightmare. That is a.
I'll be playing Howard the Duck in your mind every day. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Benji and Anthony here, and welcome to TheB.A.R for our 31 Days of Horror review of
Friday the 13th, another horror classic. This one was released in 1980 and it was directed by Cunningham. It's a classic.
1980. That's crazy, right? That it lands perfectly on that time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into the film, guys. Let's see what's up.
So Friday the 13th, one of those horror classics that, you just have to watch during this time. It starts off in 1979. We see a camp that's kind of coming back to life. It's being rebuilt. And you see a girl named Annie going through, hitchhiking through a town, and she stops by and she's asking directions for Camp Crystal Lake. All the town people kind of give her the side eye, or they're like looking at her like, why are you going there? And the town weirdo is like saying, hey, that place has a death curse. And as the movie goes along, we see that he was right.
Slasher films are some of the greatest Halloween movies, horror movies of all time. In my opinion, slasher films have this sense of reality. It's something where it could happen. And I've said this before in other videos, where some of my favorite horror films, Halloween films, are those that give you the suspense and thrill of this could actually happen. Somebody can go out and slash you like this,
Yeah.
And that's why this movie was good to me, but there was some flaws in my opinion that kind of killed it.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, of course. But yeah, like some of the little Easter eggs that I read about after this,
Okay.
With movies, I don't really go into research if I'm not a huge fan. But because this movie is such an iconic one, I wanted to do more research. And a good thing about it, something that I think we both never caught in the beginning, was that noise that they made. The iconic
Mm-hmm.
that noise was actually meant for something different. It was different words, right?
It was.
For that sound. And to me, that was great, finding out those little things here and there.
It was the sound engineer. He had seen some daily shots, and there was a scene of where Mrs. Voorhees says, kill for mommy or something like that. And it struck him.
Yeah.
So he took the first word, which was kill, and that's where you get the and then mom, where he got the ma. But everybody think it's the CH
with a
sound,
CHI,
right?
but it's actually KIMA.
Yeah.
Which is just her voice, her son's voice telling her that story.
Yeah.
Some good actors in this one. One of my favorite actors of all time in so many different movies is Kevin Bacon. I think he's a very iconic scene, when he came out in, what's that one dance movie?
Footloose.
Footloose. He was, I always thought it was him dancing, but of course, there's no way Kevin Bacon can do that.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like he was a good, I think it's one of his first, one of his more star films.
Friday the 13th was his fourth film, actually.
I see, okay. And yeah, like it's iconic. It's on those top three, Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers. You cannot go Halloween without seeing these movies.
What did you think about that whole, let's go back to the rules of horror films where, the virgin lives to the end? Alice, played by Adrienne King, she did an excellent job. She made it through the whole thing. Why? She was a good girl. She followed the rules. She was actually there to look out for her friends and not, playing strip Monopoly with the other campers,
She was playing it, wasn't she?
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, she was.
Was she?
She was playing, but she hadn't lost yet.
Oh no! Really?
Yeah. So then
I thought she was out there because that was the night of the stormy.
Yeah.
Right?
So it was the guy, her,
Uh-huh.
and then the other camper, the girl that got
So
killed.
she had not taken anything off.
She had not lost at that point.
Good?
Yeah. So that was pretty cool because that actually reminded me of that. Like she, throughout the movie, that sin kept her still. Like she was so good at Monopoly that she didn't lose any piece of clothing.
Okay.
Yeah,
but go back and check that.
Yeah,
out.
check it out. But yeah, like something that caught my attention was the goriness in the movie.
Yeah, some great special effects.
Some of the good ones and some not so special. The snake scene actually wasn't scripted in the story.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Yeah.
The snake was actually in the cabin while they were filming. So it was that cabin they were used as occupied as somewhere where they would sleep when they would film or take a break.
Oh, no way.
And they found it in there.
So they just kept the cameras rolling or what?
No, they found it in there and they're like, dude, this would be an amazing scene.
Oh,
so they brought in the camera and sadly, the death was real too. So the snake was actually murdered. at
Oh,
the
no
scene.
way.
Yeah, and in
I don't want to say it's cool, but it's
in the
kinda cool.
80s, that was allowed. Like animal cruelty wasn't a big thing, and
Right.
it would kind
The
of
rules were
sucks for
different.
that. But it was pretty like that. That scene was pretty cool. It shows you the creativity behind some of these Halloween films that they did. Some of the other stuff that I really liked is the cinematography, the way it's recorded, the way it's shown. You get a point of view from
The killer.
yeah.
Right. Actually, the first couple of kills, you actually don't know. And that's what I liked about this film, that you didn't know who was killing. Everybody already assumes that it's Jason, but actually, in the beginning, she's hitchhiking. Annie's hitchhiking. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and the arm, like the hand, you kind of think it's a man just by the way the
Right.
clothes is.
Right.
You think it's a man, and you see the fear in the actors when they're trying to run away, and even like I said before, the death scenes, those were cool. Like the arrow through Kevin Bacon's neck, stuff like that.
Did
like,
you know that was goat's blood?
Oh, was it?
It was real blood
I
from
didn't
a
even know
goat.
that.
It wasn't actually prop blood, like the sugar that they use nowadays.
Wow, like that to me is crazy, because you saw the arrow go through the skin, and some of those are very, like, they show gore, but it looks real. It looks something like that could really happen. Now that we've talked about like some of the positives, here's my negative side of this story. The one negative part about it is, I know I shouldn't group this to this specific movie because it's one movie,
Right.
but I think it's the franchise overall. I don't like when things come back. You know what I mean? I don't like
Well, then
that.
how do you get sequels out of that?
Exactly,
They have to come back.
I agree. And this film is one of the highest, like, I think, don't quote me on this, but I've read that there's gonna be another one next year.
Is there?
I read about it, and there might be another one, and it's
Oh, my
something like that.
goodness.
It's something where, like, he'll die in one movie, come back in the next one, die in the next one, come back, and it kind of threw me off. The ending threw me off a little bit. It's something where I get it. It's not real. What's that saying that you always tell me
Suspension
about?
of disbelief?
To me, I understand that you have to.
You need it.
You need it, but this movie was so good up until that point where I just didn't believe it at the end. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about the mom being revealed, or the end with the canoe?
The end with the new continuation of how 2 will come along.
Well, let me tell you something. The reason why, when it was actually written, Friday the 13th did not have that ending. It just ended with the mom being decapitated, and that was it. But the success of Carrie, I don't know if you've seen that movie from Stephen King, how
Carrie.
At the end where she goes to the grave and then the hand comes out,
Yeah.
and everybody was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the directors and producers felt that they needed a jump scare like that. So they added it at the very last minute. And so that's why you get Jason coming out, because then there is now a continuation.
But yeah, like, to me, I don't know. Like, that just kills the series for me.
I don't think so.
I
I
think
think it made it.
To me, it could have been like, hey, you know what? Someone else followed this act where it's someone else now. Maybe someone started playing like
But you kind of need that every good Halloween, even good or not good, when you go to see a movie, you want to be scared. So like, okay, the movie's wrapping up. She's now, peaceful and calm, and the end. No, I want to be scared one last time. I want my $10, $12 to be worth something, I'm sure tickets were $4 back then, but
But it could have ended as a dream. That would have been cool. Ended as a dream, like the way it did, kind of thing. But like a good example would be like Scream. There was always someone different in every one. And to me, that was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like,
you're right,
it was
about
the
that.
mom, it was a friend, it was a copycat. Like, that was cool to me. To me, like, I think that's the one reason why this movie didn't do so great for me. It was, overall, the whole movie itself was filmed beautifully. The scenes, it was done in a forest. That was cool. Like, that was amazing. The way they showed the deaths, like, they would pan away, but then they would pan back to show that body.
Right.
Stuff like that, the suspense. This movie was super dark, first of all, which was horrible to see, even in completely pitch black lighting. I couldn't say anything, but that also gave me that suspense of, like, where is she? Where are they at? Where is this happening? And that was pretty cool. But overall, like, it's still a good film. I recommend going to watch it. It's a Halloween classic. You cannot have Halloween without Jason.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it because it just gives you that whole, 1980s. Everyone's young. They're having fun. Some people are being bad, and they get killed because of that. I like that. I do. I like that about scary movies. I like the moral value, We're like kind of getting so far from it today that when you look at these movies, you kind of laugh and go, wow, that is so tamed compared to what we see nowadays, Especially like that French film you were telling me about.
Oh.
So, I really enjoyed this film.
So what do you give it, man? What's this movie for you?
I really enjoyed this film. I'm glad that we're doing all these this month. I gave it an 8.5 just because it's a Halloween classic and the moral value point.
Yeah, I really like the movie. I like the way it's shot. That's something I always look in movies. I love, this type of cinematography. That point of view was amazing. That's where a lot of films nowadays
The killer's
get it from.
point of view, yeah.
Yeah, the killer's
Really
point of view
good.
is amazing. But because I know where this film goes, and I know it's a bad thing because I'm supposed to score this movie
Just
by
do
itself.
it by itself.
But I'm gonna give it a 7. I like it. It's one of my least favorite top 3 of that main list of characters that we know
Okay.
for Halloween. But I'm gonna give it a 7. It's still a good movie to go watch. It's history.
It holds up.
Yeah,
it's still good.
It's a history movie. It's to see how all of these other films came along, and they use that from that. So I recommend it. Anthony, of course, recommends it as well. Go watch it. I believe it's on Amazon, so that's a pretty cool thing. So you can watch it there. Hey, what's up, guys? Benji and Anthony here again, and thank you for joining us today for our 31 Days of Horror for the Friday the 13th movie.
Join us on Wednesday. We're going to be doing another classic, a big favorite of mine, Poltergeist. Came out in 1983.
Yeah, so get ready for those ghosts out there, guys. So in the comments down below, let us know some of your favorite slasher films that you've seen in the some of your best kill scenes in those movies. That'd be pretty cool if you guys could comment on that. Remember, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe in the bottom. Go ahead and share this video with some of the other movie fanatics that we have out there. Maybe some other horror fanatics that we have out there. Thank you for joining us at the bar again, guys, and have a good one.